Secretary of the Commission, Mr. Ragsdale. May I get a roll call?
Yes, Madam Chair. Mr. Warren?
Present.
Ms. Strong?
Present.
Mr. Gill?
Here.
Ms. Cox?
Here.
Chair Tucker?
Here. Thank you. Thank you. The Memphis Landmarks Commission and the local historic district provisions, let me see, wait a second, that's it, yeah, are established to ensure preservation of structures that are of historic value to Memphis. Our function is to preserve significant resources, enhance community pride, and foster civic beauty, and ensure compatibility within designated historic districts. The Commission is authorized to review projects and determine their appropriateness based on the design review guidelines. At this time, I would like to swear in the staff. You may remain seated. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Okay, may I get a motion to approve the minutes from the last month's meeting?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, Mr. Secretary, please provide us a secretary's report, if there is one this month, and then explain the procedure for this meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do not have a secretary's report, so I will go into the procedures.
Okay, and could I ask, I hate to bring it up, but anybody that's got their phones on, could they silence them or turn them off? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we may want to add that to our proceeding. You know, I think, yeah, good idea. The procedure for this meeting will be as follows. I will introduce each case as listed on the agenda. Copies of the agenda are found on the right podium. For each case, staff with the Division of Planning and Development will give a presentation. At the conclusion of the staff presentation, the applicant will have 5 minutes to present his or her case. After the applicant's presentation, the Commission will hear first from those speakers in support of the application, then from those speakers in opposition to the application, and the speakers will have 3 minutes each. And then finally, the applicant will have 3 minutes to provide rebuttal. These times do not include time for questions from and answers to the members of the Commission. The chairperson may provide additional time provided both sides are given an equal amount of additional time. All parties who wish to provide testimony to the Commission will be sworn in by the chairperson. If a member of the audience wishes to provide testimony in support of or in opposition to a particular case on today's agenda, he or she will need to fill out a speaker's card for the record. Speaker's cards are available at the front podium. Once filled out, speaker's cards can be submitted to any DPD planner at the left podium. We do not need speaker's cards from the applicants since their names are already part of the record. After all parties have been heard, the Commission will close the public hearing, make a motion, and then deliberate on the case. All motions by the Commission will be made in the affirmative. The bylaws governing the Commission require that affirmative vote of a majority of the attending members to approve an application. The Commission may also vote to hold an application for a period of 1 month. Madam Chair, I submit that all cases have been filed in proper order, all applicants have been notified of this hearing, and all notice requirements have been fulfilled.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. At this point, the Commission will establish a consent agenda. To establish the consent agenda, the Secretary will call each eligible case. If any member of the audience or the Commission objects to a case being placed on the consent agenda, he or she should do so by showing of hands when the Secretary reads the case. Once the consent agenda is established, the Commission will vote on all cases placed on the agenda as a whole and will not hold individual public hearings on each case. Mr. Secretary, which items on our agenda are eligible to be placed on consent?
Item number 1, COA 2021-183, 1029 University Street in the Valentine Evergreen Historic District. Item number 2, COA 2022-024, 1717 Autumn Avenue in the Evergreen Historic District. Item number 3, COA 2022-025, 1544 Court Avenue in the Evergreen Historic District. Item number 4, COA 2022-026, 1720 South Parkway East, Glenview Historic. I'm sorry, that one is not. I apologize. That will be heard.
Is that the Cooper?
Item number 4 will be heard. Item number 5, COA 2022-027, 1975 Young Avenue, Cooper Young Historic District. Item number 6, 7, COA 2022-030, 1561 Benton Avenue in the Central Gardens Historic District. Item number 9, National Register 2022-001 Lemoyne Orange Garden Public Housing Project. Item number 11, National Register 2022-003 Parkview Hotel Apartments 1914 Poplar Avenue Evergreen Historic District. And item number 12, National Register 2022-004 Central Gardens National Register Historic District.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as established by the Secretary?
I so move.
Could I have a second?
Second.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to remind the Commission that by voting on the consent agenda, he or she affirms that he or she has read the staff report and is in full agreement of the conditions. Mr. Secretary, may I get a roll call?
Yes, Madam Chair. Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Gill? Yes. Ms. Strong?
Yes.
Mr. Warren?
Yes.
Chair Tucker?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. At this time, if you are here for any of those cases just listed on the consent agenda, you have been approved. You do not need to remain at the meeting, but are welcome to stay for the remainder of the cases. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. At this point, I'd like to state that the minor COA applications as listed on the agenda have been reviewed and approved by the Commission. The Commission will now continue with the regular hearing of the major COA applications as listed on the agenda. Mr. Secretary, please call the first case for the regular agenda.
Item number 4, COA 2022-026, 1720 South Parkway East, Glenview Historic District.
Is the applicant present? Okay, could you come to the podium, please? Do what? Okay. Okay. Okay, could you please state your name and address for the record?
I don't really know, I guess, Madam Chairperson or whoever. I don't hear well at all, so I'm hoping we can communicate. But I am the property owner of 1720 South Parkway East.
Okay, could you state your, ma'am?
Recommendation here, and I'm asking. Oh,
We need just your name and your address first.
My name is Eleanor Buckley.
Okay, and your address, where you live.
Ms. Rollins, can you come up here and help me? My address, 1720 South Parkway East,
Okay,
38114.
Okay, I need for you to do one more thing for us. Could you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so have you seen your report from the staff? That's
this right here, yes.
Okay. Do you agree with what the staff has put down for you? The conditions?
No, I do not agree. The fence portion, yes, but the garage portion, no.
Okay. Well, let's see. Did you want to tell us what you don't agree with? You could.
Yes. Ma'am, the garage is in question, and I do want the garage to remain. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Can we hear the staff report?
What she said?
Yes, yeah. Sorry, Lucas Skinner with the Division of Planning and Development. I'll briefly run through the case. So again, this is COA 2022-026 at 1720 South Parkway. This is in the Glenview Historic District. The applicant is Ms. Eleanor Buckley, who is represented by Mr. Christopher Branch. The request is for new construction of a garage, which is retroactive, as well as site improvements for a wooden 6-foot rear yard fence, which is also retroactive. Here we have a site photo from the intersection of Kyle and South Parkway. This is looking at the house. Here is a photo from Kyle Street showing the garage structure with the fence. So here are some existing conditions. There is an open enforcement case on the site for the structure. So these are sort of 3 sample photos taken for multiple times when inspectors had gone to the site to inspect for the enforcement cases. In terms of the project meeting the district guidelines, we felt that the garage overall does not meet the guidelines for the Glenview area, primarily given the color not being quite in context with the house, the use of the metal siding and metal roofing, which is not shown on the house either, essentially visually overpowering the main structure. We felt that does not meet the guidelines. In terms of the fencing, staff does feel that the fence is in line with the guidelines for the neighborhood. So with that being said, we are recommending approval for the fence, but recommending rejection for the garage. If approved, we do have 5 conditions stated there that we would have for approval. That's all I have, and I'm available for any questions.
Does anyone want to ask staff any questions?
Could you speak to the nature of the enforcement cases that are active on the property with, I guess, a little bit of detail if possible?
Yes, I can. And also, Mr. Chris Simmons is in the audience. If there are more detailed questions for him, he is available to speak. But I have spoken with him a lot. So essentially, my understanding, the main, so I believe there's one enforcement case earlier on last year, which is essentially what got the case to where this is today, was for the garage with no building permit as well as no COA. Okay. The applicant did begin the process to apply for a COA last year. We determined that the application was incomplete. It never got those materials to even get the case before you last year in 2021. So this is now why this is a new case for 2022. That being said, there was a second enforcement case, so filed with zoning enforcement with Mr. Chris Simmons' department for vehicle repair that they believed was being done on the site with this garage in question. That is still what is open. I believe the applicant has been to court several times, has spoken with the judge, and that's pretty much where we are today.
Does the structure comply with setbacks at the side and rear yard as applicable where it is?
It does, yes. Okay. From a zoning standpoint, it does comply with the UDC.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for staff? Okay.
So to make sure I understand correctly, there was no permit pulled for the garage structure, a building permit. There was no building permit, and there was not a COA that came through landmarks for the garage. So it was built without a permit, correct? Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Buckley, did you have anything else or that you wanted to say?
This is really something. The previous garage that was there had been there since we bought the house in 1965. It had become totally an eyesore, totally dangerous because it was totally dilapidated, the one that we tore down. It had vandalism to it, but I cannot say who was, but I have seen teenagers in the neighborhood doing destructive things to it. We tried to lock it up because it not only was a garage, but it had a servants' quarters also was part of it. And they were going in and from time to time disturbing and taking things out and breaking things. We had broken glass, and I was afraid when my yard man would cut the yard that he might even get hurt. It was collapsing and falling in on itself before I asked my grandsons to tear it down, and they did tear it down. Also, my homeowner's insurance refused to insure the garage in the area in the back of the house because of the condition of the garage. So it definitely needed to go, and we replaced it with modern day materials and in the color which is in, because that is primarily the color of the top of the house where we are. I know that there are some problems and issues with not following the rules to do this at first, and all I can say is ignorance of the law is no excuse. But we called ourselves trying to get rid of a problem and correct a bad situation, and that's what we did. I'm asking you to take that into consideration. And we also have a petition here signed by several members of the community stating that they do like what we have done with the situation. I ask you, please, do not make us tear this down. Thank you.
Y'all have that petition available?
I think that's all of them, and this is
So I believe in terms of the petition, I wasn't given all of it, but there is a large portion of it on pages 23 and 24 of the staff report.
Okay.
And we obviously have a few more copies here, but.
So is that everybody in the neighborhood?
standing here with me also is Miss Rollins, who is my next door neighbor.
Here.
And she can speak to the condition of what the garage was like and she was like. And she's here to support me, so she didn't have to come. Thank you.
Did y'all want to? Okay, I couldn't, is Miss Rollins here? Okay. I'm going to let Miss Rollins step up. Did you want to speak?
Yes, ma'am. She
Okay.
asked me to come and speak for her.
Yes, ma'am. Could you state your name and address for the record?
I'm Charlotte Rollins, Rollins.
Okay.
My address is 1728 South Parkway East.
Okay.
I live directly next door to Miss Buckley.
Okay, could you,
Our houses,
could I get you to raise your hand,
Oh,
right
I'm
hand?
sorry.
That's okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help
Yes,
you
ma'am.
God? Okay, thank you. You go ahead.
our houses are made exactly alike. So we're both faced with the same problem. But the fact that she put up an aluminum garage compared to what was there, she's really better off. It does not look bad. We don't have any problems with it. We did not ask anybody to make that an historical district. The fact that it's been made a historical district is destroying us elderly, because the things it's going to take to fix this the way they got it laid out, we cannot afford. I'm retired and disabled, just like Ms. Buckley. I don't have that kind of money. You know, and we keep calling, and there seems to be no one that can help us. There is nothing for the elderly in the Glenview district. So we find by the seat of our pants, trying to make things work and get things done. And that's why we have no objection to Ms. Buckley's garage.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have a question for
Could you speak more about the environmental court aspects, the stages or what all has taken place in environmental court?
Yeah, I mean, do you mean sort of the details of the case?
I understand why they're here before landmarks, but the environmental court aspects, I'm assuming for the reason why it's before environmental court.
Okay, yeah, so I believe the complaint that took the applicant to environmental court was essentially for these pictures here was I think there were complaints of like blockage of the street, the number of vehicles being stored on the lot. Sorry, yeah, Mr. Simmons can probably speak a little bit better to that than I can.
Hello, I'm Christopher Simmons with Division of Plan Development and Zoning Enforcement. This case originally came to us as auto repair shop. On several occasions, MPD have tagged cars that was on the sidewalk. Behind that storage building, you have, last day we had it in court a week ago, it was 6-7 vehicles for repair behind his garage. History with Mr. Branch is that he's worked on cars. He's worked on cars at other locations in the city. We cited him and Miss Buckley to court. Ms. Buckley have not been in court on one appearance. So I'm surprised to see her today because we've had her on the docket for months. And, Mr. Branch always have appeared in court, but, the docket consists of Christopher Branch and Eleanor Buckley. We feel that it's going to always be used as a mechanic shop. It's a point blank. I mean, to us, the pictures show it. Even being in court for several months, the issue hadn't went away. So, in our eyes, it's a mechanic shop. Anybody have any questions?
Questions for?
No, I think, thank you for being here. It's refreshing to get perspective from the enforcement side of OPD. I think you and I have exchanged emails, or mine have been forwarded to you. It's nice to meet you, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay.
And if this returns back to environmental court, what happens next? Or where are they at the stage in environmental court? What would happen next in environmental court?
Well, environmental court is really looking at this board, for the approval of the building, approval or not of the building. Like I say, it's been a constant battle in environmental court for auto repair. Neighbors are outraged. They call in MPD on a regular basis. I will say that over the last couple of months, those cars have moved from the sidewalk, but those cars now behind that storage building on grass. So, but it's still pending in environmental court.
Okay. Does
I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
What do y'all suggest? I mean, it sounds like a business is being run out of this building, separate from the landowner. What do you two suggest that we do? I hate to punish her by having to remove a building that she may have paid for, but And also, you can't run a business in a residential neighborhood, certainly not a car business, so you got a zoning violation. What do y'all suggest?
That's a good question. I don't know if I can speak on the history of Mr. Branch, but he is no stranger to code enforcement. Previous location in Whitehaven on the street named Good Haven. Been in court for several years for the same activity. And so to move in South Parkway in the historical district, we feel like it's going to continue to the judge, give him a fine or maybe something more severe because it's a continuous issue.
Yeah.
I mean, we cited him back to court last year. Mm-hmm. And I think the last court said we can tell that the judge is getting tired of it. And so it's going to be up to the court. It's going to be up to the judge. But the judge saw the picture of the vehicle in the backyard, and he just told him he had to move those vehicles.
Yeah.
And cease auto repair. But
Mr. Simmons, can I clarify? Mr. Branch is the son of, or are they related? Does he live at the property?
I think it's grandson.
Grandson? Okay. So it's not I think, Mr. Gill, it sounded like you may be under the impression it was a separate individual, but they're actually related. I'm not sure if he actually lives at the property, but.
I think Commissioner Cox had a.
I just have a quick question. Have you all had an opportunity to go inside the building?
No, we've never been inside the building. I think on maybe the one occasion the garage was up, maybe a car in there or two, but it was what's in front of the building and what's behind the building that was,
So the building itself, I think, is what is it being used as a business or to just to house her car?
I mean, how can you tell whether or not they're doing business inside the building? And
cannot really say that.
Yeah,
Like I said, we hadn't been in the building to see that. Most of the power looked like it was going on outside of the building.
Okay. All right.
Between the house and the storage building.
Okay.
So that's where all our pictures have been, the exterior of the property.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Did Ms. Buckley have anything else before I close the public portion to say?
Being at a disadvantage and not being able to hear everything that's been said or whatever, read what's up there, I still beg of you to let my garage stand. I know what it was like before. I know what we have gone through to try to improve the situation, and I'm asking that you please let it stand. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think we have a couple of questions for staff from the commissioners.
So I'm looking through the conditions and I'm looking through the conformity pages here, the pages where we've outlined the conformity and nonconformity. So I'm not really clear on the change. So the paint would need to be changed. I see in the conditions vinyl is approved. It looks to be vinyl siding now, right? It is. So they could keep the sign. They would just need to paint it and make it one door, or I'm not 100% clear.
So
and change the roof.
Yes. So the conditions are there to kind of go along with the guidelines. However, if I can kind of speak to this a little bit, I don't think staff is of the opinion to get rid of the garage. I mean, the having a garage is not the problem.
Right.
And I think to speak to Mr. Gill's question, staff doesn't want to just see a garage to just not have a garage doesn't have to be an answer. I think we would like to see the garage come into a little bit more conformity with the guidelines, and then maybe to somewhat separate the vehicle issue. That's a slightly separate thing that we can continue on with zoning enforcement. But so to sort of speak on what you were saying, I think we've been talking internally. I think if we could just come maybe with a more neutral color to just bring it closer to the color of the house, maybe just make it not so visually overpowering to the main structure, we would be okay with that. I mean, the other conditions, I think we would be okay with maybe not having done necessarily, in order to have her keep a garage.
Okay, so then maybe we can just kind of word the condition then to make it, to bring her into compliance, just if she painted it a more neutral color, or she had it painted a more neutral color. And that won't be as, hopefully not as cost prohibitive for her.
Yes, I mean, we would be okay with that. Absolutely.
Can we make that friendly amendment or the adjustment?
But we're going to have to close our, you want one more question, and then we'll close and do our discussion, and then we'll do that part.
I have a question for staff. Is the existing building metal? Is the siding metal and the roof is metal?
Yes.
Do you know it's not a small building, and that's not illegal or irrelevant. I'm just curious, do you know the dimensions of it?
So I never got specific dimensions.
Right.
I don't know if Chris ever got dimensions, but I roughly sketched it out, and it was somewhere around 800 or 850 square feet.
Yeah.
Somewhere around like a 24 by 36.
Yeah, I was going to guess 35 feet long and 20 feet wide or something. And this is most likely a prefabricated industrial metal building. Okay.
Okay. Did you want to ask? You're okay? Okay. At this time, I'm going to close the public portion of this case, and the commissioners will have further discussion. May I get a motion from a commissioner?
I've got a motion that, just listen close to me to see if I get a second on it. I move to approve the wooden fence and the wooden fence only. Can we clear that up and get that out of the way? Can I break the approval into two motions? Secretary Ragsdale.
We could. I think we do have the one application, so I prefer to try to keep these together if we could.
All right. For the purposes of discussion, I move to approve case COA 2022-026.
Here's a second.
Second.
Okay. Discuss.
I would like to make an amendment or adjust the amendment. Oh, it's on my phone. Hang on. Here. For the recommendations that, and I don't know how to word it, but that the existing structure is allowed to stand provided that it is painted a more neutral, consistent color to the principal structure. Any change, and then keep number 5. Strike number 2 and 4.
Okay, so that's a motion.
That's
Are we going?
we need to discuss.
I think we have some macro level discussions. I mean, I like where you're going with this.
Okay.
We need to discuss.
But I think we need to acknowledge that this is a prefabricated metal kit building that's it's 35 or 36 feet by 20 feet, and it's been put in a historic district, and that's not allowed. Like, it's not okay. And there's all this other side discussion about what's happening in the building, which I will stay away from. It was insightful to hear because when there's gray area, it is nice to hear what's happening. But if this were submitted to us prior to construction, we would not approve it. Same thing with painting that brick building last month. So
But we're
again,
faced with that challenge all the time, just
Right.
asking for forgiveness, which we're faced with that
Right.
all the time. And sometimes people just don't know that they need,
Right.
know the process, right?
And I'm not
But-
proposing that the building would ever be torn down or removed. I think that where you're going with your amendments and where our discussion should go is what can be incrementally improved with this building.
Right.
And painting a prefabricated metal building tan or brown, to me, is not the end of that discussion.
Okay.
I think it warrants further discussion. The staff had the idea to add a window on the west facade, which is the gable end. Maybe, Mr. Skinner, can you pull a photograph and we can make sure we know which end you're proposing that on? I don't have a strong opinion about the window or the roof. I don't think the roof would be visible. I don't think adding architectural shingles to the metal roof is the most advisable
Is there a closer picture?
solution. That gable end in that photo is the west end, right?
Correct.
But the siding is the problem. And it's not just the color, right? In my opinion, I'm speaking for myself. So I don't think it would be that difficult to add, and again, I apologize for some architectural jargon, but vertical treated furring strips that will screw to the metal building. Those would be 1x4s or 2x4s. And then, 2 feet on center, and horizontal traditional siding would be applied to that. I'm going to quote the Glenview Historic District Guideline. Secondary structures is the heading. This is a secondary structure. A secondary structure should be simple in form and character. A secondary structure should be similar to those seen historically in terms of materials, height, and scale and detail. A secondary structure that relates to the general architectural character of the primary building is preferred. So, I guess the question is, what's a reasonable compromise?
And the dilemma is the point that they brought up is correct. As these neighborhoods change, there's a lot of people that are still there, original people that were still there, that are elderly and on a fixed income. So that becomes, it's kind of not our problem, but I think it should be taken into consideration too. Because there are a lot of elderly people in that neighborhood and some of the other historic neighborhoods. And as I mentioned before, they're just now being paid attention to. A lot of stuff was going on that wasn't in compliance for years. This is my neighborhood, so I know. So, yes, it's an improvement. Yes, it may be cost prohibitive. How do we find the middle ground? Is it the paint? Adding a window to that, how does that work? How does it look? This is for you. Like, how?
Yeah, I don't know
window?
that. Would it improve it? Probably. Is it feasible? Maybe. Is it a security liability if they have problems in the past? Yes. I don't know that it's lipstick, right? We're not gonna, we're not gonna make that building great architecture with the addition of a window. But corrugated metal siding is an industrial material. It's just totally out of bounds in a historic district. And I know
A lot of shrubbery around.
I give the applicant credit for acknowledging that ignorance is not an excuse, but it's just back to the question of how do we act with these retroactive approvals? And
But
we don't have to.
if we
we don't-
pull that thread, then they will have to replace it altogether because it is prefabricated, right? They can't just slap some extra
No, I think they
siding on
can.
there, can they?
I think they can work with a contractor to put vertical wood furring strips on there that then receive the nails or the nails from normally applied horizontal hardy siding or horizontal wood siding.
Yeah, but the meter's running on that one, for sure. Meter is definitely running.
Well, the truth is that every little step that you do is going to do a little domino effect to the next thing that you'll have to do. If you put the furring strips with the metal, have another surface on it. I'm looking at the overhangs of that roof and I'm like, that's not totally going to be able to cover it.
I think the overhangs 5 or 6 inches.
Is it? And then when you have the added strips plus the wood siding or hardy siding to that, then it becomes what?
I mean, a 1x4 is 3/4 of an inch, and siding is either another 3/4 or as little as 5/16 for hardy.
Yeah, all of that would be taken into consideration. Truth is, more than likely, I don't expect the fact that all of this will be added at an immediate state. Like, there's going to have to be cost estimates happening. I don't even know if all of these suggestions, if somebody had actually put a cost to being able to do this in actually working out a feasible way that maybe some versus others could be chosen versus not chosen versus what would make it better versus not better, or same thing. But the point is like, how much more has been done? Because an immediate rejection of doing anything to this building, I think, is a non-factor. Like, something has to be done. We're not saying that you have to demolish it because it is useful. It is replacing a previously existing garage that was there. I'm not certain why the process didn't finish, because it had begun of getting a permit done on these spaces. That seems like somebody dropped the ball on that. I have no idea how that happened. But fact is, somebody put a garage in a space that once had a garage. All right, so how do we make it better? Right now, immediately, painting. Okay, but painting isn't easy either for this particular material. How can we pause this and just get the ability for her to gather prices on these items that could happen and work it through so that it's feasible but for her? And it will hurt just a little bit because, unfortunately, like you said, we broke the law here. It didn't go the way it's supposed to. We can't just do a gloss over of immediate acceptance and, okay, there has to be something. There is a sacrifice to this. But how can we make it easier to handle? And I think part of that needs to start with a discussion of how much is this and that you can willingly do. I don't think the car factor, unfortunately, we're just concentrating on the building. And that's it. That's my thoughts too. It's like I would recommend holding.
Hold's easy.
Any other?
I mean,
it's coming back, but I think there needs to be more thought behind it. Like, it's got to come back regardless, but there needs to be more knowledge behind this as to what to do.
I'm amenable to, I would second a motion hold. But I also want to say that, I don't think we're responsible for things that get brought up in here like drainage, trash, crime, and the costs. And the latter I'll put an asterisk by because we are sensitive to relative costs, but budgets and costs and other money-related matters are what they are, just like drainage and trash and crime.
Agreed.
That's true.
And landscaping.
And landscaping.
True.
And I think she needs to be able to come with more information in hand. I think that's the sole purpose.
Who is the representative, Christopher Branch?
He's the chop shop.
He's the chop shop, right.
Who's using it as a business.
Okay.
I would also suggest seeking out organizations like Community Lift that can help maybe give you some guidance, if not grants, to take care of this kind of work. So I would suggest that as well. They used to give grants. At one point, they were giving grants to like individuals. Okay. Or else they can give them guidance.
Madam Chair,
Okay, so where do we need to go?
I just want to make sure that we get all the conversations on mic.
Oh, are y'all on mic? No, she's not, but you didn't say anything. Did you hear? Yeah. Oh, up here. Y'all need to be on mic is what she said.
Oh, and I'll actually summarize our conversation.
Okay.
So I was clarifying to Mario that it's metal and that we were speculating how you might make the siding instead of industrial corrugated metal, make it look like horizontal siding. And from what I know, what I recall, I think I know about the district guidelines, and Lucas, you may know, vinyl siding is allowed. And we were debating whether or not vinyl siding can be added to the metal without the furring strip step. Again, sorry for all the jargon, but like you don't have to put all the vertical wood runners that you use self-tapping sheet metal screws to screw the vinyl siding. The next layer up overlaps the screws so you don't see it, and the hole is, these are things that maybe the applicant and staff could talk about in the coming month if we in fact hold. But it changes. It would reinvent the character of this building. It would look like a traditional shed. I mean, with horizontal siding.
Is that a motion to?
I think staff is. Sure. I mean, we can. I know holds are of limited use, right? So.
Well, holds in this case will help her, if staff can help her, or if y'all can help her find some solution.
Yeah, that's true.
In this case, it's a true solution we're looking for.
Right, so we have
help her out.
But we have two choices. One is to approve it subject to this condition without the applicant's feedback, or to hold it and let them explore it. To Joyce Selena's point earlier, right?
Yeah. Well, she's got the building now, so it's there.
Right. Nobody wants the building to go away. Like, we understand that it's an asset and it's there. We just want to make it better. I'll submit a motion to hold.
Thank you. May I have a?
Is this a 30-day or 60-day hold?
I think we only do 30.
1 month. We try to say 1 month.
1 month.
It's 30 days. Someone actually showed up 30 days later and it wasn't a meeting. So.
Oh, gotcha.
1 month.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Could we have a vote?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Doss?
Yes.
Mr. Gill? Yes. Ms. Love?
Yes.
Ms. Strong?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Warren?
Yes.
Chair Tucker?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay. We have the next.
Yes, our next case is item number 6, COA 22-028, 849 Roselle Street in the Central Gardens Historic District.
Okay. Is the applicant present? Okay. Okay. You can come to the podium. Okay. Can you state your name and address for the record?
It's Montgomery Martin, 160 Devon Way,
Okay.
38111.
Okay. Can you raise your... Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Have you had a chance to look at the staff report?
Yes.
Okay. Do you agree with the staff report, with the conditions?
Do I agree with the staff report? Well, no.
Okay.
So I just wanted to speak to the conditions.
Okay.
Sarah,
Yes.
that's why I'm here.
Okay. Did you want to make a statement?
I'm sorry.
Did you want?
Well,
yeah.
Were you going to give the report?
Yeah.
First?
Okay.
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 Okay, Sophie Vogel with the Division of Planning and Development.
Okay.
This is COA 2022-028, located at 649 Roselle Street in the Central Gardens
We can't
Historic
hear.
District.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Better?
Yeah.
Okay. This is COA 2022-028 at 649 Roselle Street in the Central Gardens Historic District. The applicant is Lauren Ashley Martin, and the designer or representative is Montgomery Martin. And the request is for the new construction of a second floor addition. So this is the view from Roselle Street. The subject property is a contributing craftsman-style airplane bungalow built around 1922. The structure has stucco and brick exterior, a gabled roof with asphalt shingles and a dormer on the front facade, as well as wrought iron columns. The The windows are double hung with 1/1 light. And then this view just shows the view from Good Bar, which shows the upper story as it exists now. So there's been some changes this week on proposed elevations. These are the original proposed elevations that show 4 traditional dormers on the upper story roof. And then the new proposed elevations show 2 shed-style dormers, and in an attempt to reduce the visual impact that the dormers have on the addition. And the windows have also increased in size, but now they match. So staff was happy that they match now. The proposal is board and batten as an exterior finish, and the roof pitch matches the pitch of the existing roof. And here are some examples of the shed-style dormers provided by the applicant. The proposal mostly meets the Central Gardens Historic District design guidelines. The scale of the addition does not change the rhythm of the block, and the addition remains subordinate to the existing structure. However, the proposed dormers are not in character with the original structure and aren't required for headroom in the addition, as the floor-to-ceiling height of the proposal is 9 feet. The addition of the dormers on top of the full-height addition creates the illusion of a third story of livable space and increases the perceived scale of the addition. The applicant also mentioned changing the wrought iron columns on the front elevation. This wasn't included in the application, but he would like to speak on it, and it was based on a comment from the Central Gardens Historic District. So staff recommends approval with 3 conditions as listed below to ensure compatibility with the design guidelines and the original characteristics of the structure. And I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have any questions of staff?
So is the wrought iron included or not?
It wasn't included in the application.
Okay. Is it planning to be changed, or is it going to stay as it is?
Possibly. He'd like to talk about it, if that's okay.
I'm sorry, what was the question? My hearing's not what it used to be. What's that?
Well, are we finished asking staff? Well, you are. I'm asking the rest of us.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you for the presentation.
Okay. All right. Did you have a question for staff?
I asked my question. Yeah, I asked it about the front first of all. And are we going with that third option? That's the one with the taller windows? Because I know in this on here we see about 3 different versions.
Yes, it's the third option that they would like to go with.
Any more? Okay,
Let's
thank you.
the third option being, it's highlighted, A102C is the sheet name. Okay, thank you.
Should I speak to that?
If we're finished? Okay. Commissioners? Okay, yes, sir. Go ahead.
Should I speak to that?
You can, you have 5 minutes for a presentation. Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the option that we would like. The windows are approved because they meet the guidelines that were lined out. So really it just leaves one thing, and that is the dormers. Our proposed dormers are there. For one, I don't really understand why they wouldn't be allowed, but because there's dormers on most every house in the neighborhood. The purpose of the dormers are to allow natural light, to allow natural light in from above. The addition is the existing home, second floor is on the right side of the north elevation, which is the top left one, and then we're adding 20 feet to the east of that, that goes toward the front, and so that's where the new windows are. We're replacing the existing windows on the right side to match the new windows, and also we're adding 2 dormers or 2 two dormers were there to let in natural light. I mean, the whole idea is to have the natural light. They are, from an architectural perspective, really more like clerestory lighting. I was looking up. That's the idea up there in the ceiling of the chambers here, is to let in natural light with, which is essentially clerestory lighting. We had initially proposed dormers that were, for no real reason, just larger in scale. And so we scaled them back to make and change them from this this elevation to, if you go back to the other one, to that elevation, which is it's more subordinate. The term subordinate is one of the historical guideline terms. The dormers are more subordinate to the roof, essentially smaller scale, and so we just don't see any reason that we couldn't have those two dormers up there. They're, like I said, they're all over the neighborhood, and they're necessary for the natural light that we want in there. The other piece of this, if I could add, so essentially it's the dormers in this second piece, which is at the last minute, we added wooden columns on the front of the house. It wasn't part of the application. There's really no resistance to it, I don't think. But I had to, I needed to bring this up. There's a drawing. I don't know, Sophie, if you can find it. There we go. So when we got our first comments back on the house, there was a mention, just a general mention of adding wooden columns, or really replacing some wrought iron columns that were there with wooden columns. We really wanted to do that. We just never presented it. The side and the second floor, the side elevations and the second floor that shows there was the priority. And then I realized that we'd forgotten to present the wooden columns, and it would be difficult to go back and get approval later. So really, I think it was yesterday, I submitted this. Those which are simply replacement columns for the wrought iron columns that are there. I think they're more attractive, more in scale with the neighborhood. They'll be basically, each column is a pair of 5x5 wood with a 1 to 2 inch gap. These are a bit representational, but nevertheless, 5x5 wooden column, a pair of 5x5 wood posts with a gap in between across the front. So that would look, basically like that. If you've got any questions about those, I've got some sample columns and other that I took pictures of in other places.
Okay, thank you. Did the commissioners have any questions for the applicant?
I have a question. You mentioned or referenced what we see above in the ceiling. You mentioned or referenced the skylights are above what we see in the ceiling here at City Hall, and I was just wondering, you're proposing dormers, and you had mentioned, I'm just wondering, you proposed dormers versus skylights for which you submitted, and I was just wondering if you could speak to that, the reason why you went with dormers instead of skylights on that addition.
Yeah, thank you for the question, and I appreciate that. Some of y'all might know this, but I'm a builder, and I've built a lot of things. I hate skylights.
Certainly were.
They would do the job, but it's not what we want. And they leak, and they cloud, and I mean, I'm sure you maybe could find skylights that don't do that, but just not a fan of skylights. And frankly, to be honest with you, this house is on the corner of Good Bar and Roselle, and skylights are more modern, so to speak. And I think we've reduced the scale of these dormers so they don't, well, so they are supported to the roof, so they don't stick out. So I think they're really, in my mind, and really in our opinion, more attractive than skylights. So that's my answer.
Any other questions from commissioners for the applicant? Well, wait 1 second. I'll call.
I have a question.
Oh, well, she was, oh, you go? Okay. Whoever wants to go first.
Are you sorry. Oh, are you proposing to raise the height of the second floor roof line and ceiling?
We are. The second floor, I would say that what's existing now is kind of a flat roof. And so what we're doing is we're removing the existing roof and putting a new roof on the putting a new roof over the existing and over the new that is at the same pitch as, which is 8 and 12 as the roof you can see on the side there. So and it's about 6 to 8 feet taller. It's not, 20 feet taller. It's about 6 to 8 feet taller than the existing roof. And I would say maybe 8 to 10 feet taller than the first floor attic, which is where the addition is going.
Okay.
I might have missed it, but did you speak on why you went with increasing all of the windows on that side versus just maintaining you might have spoken about this, but did you explain your decision between increasing the height of those windows along that particular elevation, the one that has, I'm sure, is encompassing the bedrooms, both bedrooms in the study, the main part of the study, and as you wrap around, you see it's got the original height of the rest of the windows, and I know one of staff's recommendations was to bring that datum line down so it's existing all the way around the building. So I noticed that instead of doing that on this third option, you went ahead and raised that side, and then on the rest of the side, you have that odd little board and batten band happening above it.
The initial objection to the original elevation was that the tops of the windows didn't line up, and I understand that. So instead of decreasing the new windows, we decided it was worth the money, again, to introduce natural light. It was worth the money to replace the existing 4 windows with the new ones that would match new ones in the new addition. Was that the question you were asking?
It's similar. I guess in my take of this was more that the existing story included the entire existing story all the way around versus just that one single side of the story. As you know, most of the time we're not seeing everything in just one perspective. So
well, I mean, the initial objections were really just
focused on that elevation.
The south and the west and the east elevations, we haven't gotten any pushback on any of that. As you can see from the front, it's not I mean, our aesthetic parameters were to make the house was built in 1910. My daughter and her daughter, my granddaughter, bought the house last fall with the idea of updating it and making it more usable. And it's really almost like a one-person house. And so the upstairs was one room, no bathroom, no anything. So we are making it more of a back house cottage. We're moving away more from what might look like a back house cottage to a home, and hence the second floor, because the floor plan's not up there, but basically we're putting in a new bathroom and a walk-in closet, a new bedroom, and the existing part, which is on the right side, will be a study, and then the existing attic that runs out to the existing dormer will be a little library reading nook, if you want to put it that way. So the entire upstairs goes from a small, really almost unusable for more than just sitting in it. See, on the right side of that floor, the bottom, thank you. So the right side of that is the existing second floor, and there's nothing there but a ceiling that is, one room that has a ceiling that's about 7 feet 6 inches, maybe 7'9". And so in order to use the house and use the second floor, we're adding that bedroom, bathroom, and closet walk-in, and that's the part that rises up. And then the part to the left is really into the attic. You don't really see any of that. We're finishing out the interior space, but there's no exterior alterations to do that.
Mr. Martin, can I interrupt you and ask a question about the windows? At the west end of the house, is north?
Yeah.
The left side is west?
Right.
Yeah, so it's plan north is down. I would say on the right side, in that room that's labeled existing study room, the option, and we really want to get you out of here and get this approved. It's a nice project. I think option 102C that is being proposed, I believe what Joyce Salino is pointing out is that your windows on the up side of the page and the right side of the page have headers at 6 feet, and your windows in that same room on the down side of the page have headers that are 18 inches higher. And I don't think that's the architect, Ms. Deshpande, or your intent. It may have just been something that happened to address staff comments, but it is a little peculiar. Can we maybe, Sophie, go back to 102C? All right. The top left drawing shows the headers quite high. The set of 4 windows on the right side of the second floor is that room. The bottom drawing shows 3 windows that are double hung with the headers 18 inches lower that are in the same room. And then the whole group of 6 across the gable on the back is also in that same room. I think we just want to rationalize the header heights. If that's amenable to you. Sounds like you're in a position to say bigger windows is better.
That's it.
Okay.
We want it. This is, again, the aesthetic parameters was to introduce more natural light.
Right. You've got,
so
right.
Raising the window on the north elevation does that.
Yeah.
Along with the dormers, not to.
I think I'm prepared to submit a motion that'll get you what you. Oh no, we're not there yet.
Well,
we have a commenter. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess one last I would like to say is that this is a good move. Like, honestly, this is a corner lot. And that's probably why there's as much attention being made right now as to what it is. Good move with the dormers going shed style versus gable style. That works. The fact that it is against a street on both that front elevation and that side elevation lends me toward the mode that, yes, this is a great, great design, but at that same notion, you coming up that street to what Peter was talking about is that you're seeing both of these window elevations in the same context. So that throws that design aesthetic off for that notion. So, all right, I'm done.
If I could address that, I've thought about that. I've talked to designers and other people, and it's a different elevation. There are different sized windows throughout the house, and it's just a different side. It doesn't bother us aesthetically. I think nobody will even really notice it. It's not that we're trying to hide it. It's just the nature of these kind of houses, I think.
You won't be able to hide that.
Well, is it that objectionable? That's the question.
I think you will regret having the second floor corner of your house have windows within 18 inches of the corner and the headers are offset by 2 feet. But, I mean, we're getting into the weeds a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I believe we have a speaker. Could you state your name and address?
It's Mary Kohler, and I live at 648 Roselle across the street, directly across the street.
Okay, could you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, I am really for this project. Our houses, especially my house, had a huge renovation before I bought it, and that house is smaller than any other house on the street, and he is really going to take it up to the level of our entire street, which is so beautiful, and everyone in the neighborhood is very, very excited about it. And since I'm retired, they kind of asked me to come. And we really need to get rid of those wrought iron columns. They're really an eyesore, so I hope you let them change them, because I sit on the front porch and I have to look at them. But I just really hope you approve this. This is really going to improve our whole street and our neighborhood. And to his point, we need to have more families on our street. That's what keeps the neighborhood thriving. And by him making the house bigger, it's going to be conducive to families always living there. It was a one-person house. My friend lived there. And we really need to make it bigger and more family-friendly. But thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other for or against? Okay, thank you. All right. Did you have any other comments, or do you?
I hope it will get approved.
Okay, thank you. All right, at this time, we're going to close the public hearing portion. May I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll submit a motion. So I'm going to strike and reword staff conditions number 1 and 2. So for the purposes of discussion, I move to approve case COA 2022-028, subject to the design modifications illustrated on sheet A102C, and additionally subject to the swapping out of the porch columns from wrought iron to pairs of wood columns as was illustrated during the proceedings.
Do you have a second?
I second.
Okay. Some discussion? More? Any additional discussion from commissioners?
I mean, I think it's a little odd to have the corner of a house where the headers are at different heights, but it's 18 inches, 2 feet, whatever it is. You will notice it. I think your framer's going to call you and ask you about it, but it's not anything worth holding up this project over.
Yeah.
So the wording of my motion is on the record and can be taken literally.
Any other discussion?
Madam Chair, can I clarify?
Yeah.
If I heard you correctly, did you strike conditions 1 and 2?
Yeah, and let me make sure I was consistent with my intent. The proposed dormer shall not be permitted as, that meant as originally, I understood that to mean as originally submitted.
Well, originally submitted were, what you did clarify A102C, so.
Yeah,
I just wanted to clarify.
but let me reword my,
restate
let me restate it because I do want to add something. So I move to approve case COA 2022-028 subject to the condition that the design alterations on sheet A102C be executed with the possibility of the applicant being allowed to raise the headers within the west room so that they're all at the same height. Because if you take 102C literally, they're shown 18 inches lower. Does that make sense?
So,
and the second condition being the porch columns be swapped to wood as was illustrated during the proceedings.
okay, so is your motion to approve the higher header windows as proposed? A102C, I believe, that has the lower header.
No, A102C has the higher headers. Am I wrong?
Is that your intention? To
Yes.
approve that? Okay.
Right.
Okay, I've got it.
Along with the possibility to investigate or allow for the corner
Right.
to happen.
The additional double hung windows in that west room to be matching in height.
Well, so we're not conditioning those to be raised then?
No, I'll restate it. I'll try to do better.
That's okay. I've
Got
it.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Okay, may I have a roll call?
Mr. Warren?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Strong?
Yes.
Ms. Love?
Yes.
Mr. Gill?
Yes.
Ms. Doss?
Yes.
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Chair Tucker?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Can I have the next, is the next applicant present?
Yes. The next case is item number 8, COA 22-031, 716 North McNeil Street in the Valentine Evergreen Historic District.
Okay. If the applicant would step forward, please. Okay, could you state your name and address?
Wesley Brown, 760 North McNeil.
Okay, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Have you seen the recommendations from staff?
No, ma'am, I haven't.
Okay, so staff, has he not had the ability to?
What I emailed you last week.
Did you read the staff report
No,
that she sent to you?
I'm sorry.
Okay, so
I
then,
moved to hold the case for 30 days.
Please don't.
in this case,
Sorry, Margot.
That's okay. Go ahead with the presentation.
huh?
Is that what you said? Sorry, I didn't hear. Do you want to hear the presentation?
Well, he doesn't have any ability to comment on your recommendations. So we can go forward with the presentation and then maybe discuss it and go from there. So yeah, let's move on.
Okay. I'll go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was out the country last week, so they probably missed it.
We'll catch you up here. All right. I'm Margot Payne, Division of Planning and Development. The applicant for this case is proposing exterior alterations at 760 North McNeil Street in the Valentine Evergreen Historic District. Some of the proposed work is retroactive. The windows have already been removed and partially replaced. From the side, you can see the front door has also been removed and enclosed, and many of the window openings are in the process of being enclosed. These are photos provided by the applicant that show some of the disrepair. The staff finds the proposed alterations do not meet the Valentine Evergreen Historic District guidelines. The applicant is proposing to paint the unpainted brick facade and also cover the stuccoed gables with wood siding, which are alterations not supported by the guidelines. The applicant is also proposing to infill 6 of the original window openings and has already replaced many of the windows with new products that don't fit the original openings. These alterations are also not supported by the guidelines, and one of the original front doors has also been removed, which is not supported. The staff recommends approval for exterior alterations with 7 conditions. 1, the unpainted masonry shall remain unpainted. The stucco within gable shall be repaired in kind and not covered with wood siding. All replacement windows shall match the existing opening size and original windows in terms of style, size, and grid patterns. The window openings that are visible from the street shall not be enclosed. The second entry door opening shall not be enclosed. The opening shall be replaced with a false door matching original wood multi-light entry door or a window matching the surrounding windows. And the applicant shall also have the option of installing shutters to hide the overpaint on the front facade if he would like. And that concludes my presentation.
Okay, thank you. Does staff have any, do you have any questions of staff before we go to?
Was an application submitted, was there a stop work order or we're looking at? Okay.
There's a stop work order.
I see. Thank you.
Is this the first time, I believe that he's been in front of this commission before?
He has, but not for this property.
Okay. Not for this one, but for several others. Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right, commissioners, any other questions of staff?
Was anything else considered other than replacing that second door with the window? Because my fear is that either you won't be able to match the brick underneath it, which could be an issue, versus just going ahead and replacing it with a faux door or.
That's why I included the option for the faux door, because I think it will be hard to match the original brick.
Yeah, I almost feel like that needs to be, unless something is added to it to say brick to match existing brick as well, along with that option.
Okay.
Can I speak to that now or not?
Okay, any other?
Not yet.
Sorry.
Hey guys, you got any?
Floor plans?
Yeah, are there floor plans? We're trying to determine if there's a floor plan drawing.
There should be in your staff report, yeah, there's a floor plan that shows the openings that are being closed, and I believe the rooms are labeled.
Yeah, they're in there.
Got it.
Yeah, we were just trying to determine why the windows were being covered, and
I believe it's a bedroom. Is that what?
they're bedrooms, but it appears he's adding a couple of bathrooms, which are rearranging the floor plan.
Could you speak more to the stop work order? Or
Yes.
what that resulted from?
We got complaints from the neighbors. They noticed work was going on, called us. We placed a stop work order. That's when the COA process was started. And we did receive more complaints because a roof was put on the structure during that time, but we approved that work because we don't regulate roof replacements, and we were happy to see that the home was being protected.
Any more questions, commissioners of staff?
Oh, the application was filed last month in March, right?
Yes, I don't have the exact date in front of me, but
And when did the stop work order happen?
prior to the application being filed.
Okay. And is this your first property in a historic district here in the city of Memphis?
No, ma'am, it isn't.
He's done other things in front of us before.
I've been before.
So you are aware of the COA process, correct?
I am aware of the COA. I would say I kind of jumped the gun on the COA on this property because I actually I did a property on McNeil a couple years ago, and I had no issues, so that was the only reason.
Didn't know you were buying. Sorry, go ahead.
You just don't, do you not know when you buy a property if it's in?
They really don't make you aware, to be honest with you, but I knew that one was in kind of like one of those areas, but I guess I should have I normally I'll send an email over to Brett, but since I had done a property previously and had no issues, that's why. But normally, I have no problem submitting documents. I come down here for all my properties. So it's just an error on my side.
Did you have a property on Arbondale, or was it
719 North Arbondale.
719 North Arbondale, and that was what, in March, February this year? Something like that?
I can't, it was beginning of this year, end of last year, something.
No, it was this year. It was this year, 719 Arbondale. And then didn't you have another one?
I'm handling like 20 houses right now. I don't remember the date.
But it was in the same neighborhood as this, right?
Ma'am?
It was in the same neighborhood, correct?
I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
And I believe there was one in Cooper Young in the fall, right, on Evelyn or Barksdale, maybe?
My other property that I came in for was 1781 Forest.
In Evergreen Historic, yeah.
I can't think of the other ones. But that was the most recent two, Arbondale and Forest.
Okay. Any more questions of staff?
Question for the applicant, if that's all right. So these are professionally drawn floor plans. Do you mind if I ask who does these?
What's the guy's name? His first name is James.
Okay. I mean, I guess it's not critical to know exactly who it is. I just, I acknowledge that you're a professional. You're hiring these home designers, and you're creating the right sets of documents. It's I think we just need to take that level of care and detail to the zoning, and it's getting
like I said again. I apologize.
Yeah.
But anytime you guys have ever seen me like on properties, I submit this ahead of time. So I do apologize for that on my side.
Well, I don't think that's accurate. I mean, for you to say every time you've seen me, I've submitted this ahead of time. You've been here for several retroactive approvals. Just to clear the record, that's not accurate, right? Have you ever had a retroactive approval?
No, my first one was the actual house at 1781 Forest. I didn't know anything at that time.
Okay.
But I did have like building permits and everything submitted.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we want to help you find a solution here.
Okay.
I think you wanted to address the fact of having that second door.
Yeah, so
build.
If you have the plans in front of you, that's an actual bedroom.
We can't.
So I'm fine with putting in the window, but I do want to address your concern in regards to the bricking of that. I know predominantly most areas you can't do like the painted brick, which I understand. But that's like one of the issues that I normally run into. Like if you look back at the previous property at 719 on Arbondale, I was able to somewhat kind of match the brick, but I wasn't approved to paint it. But on this particular property, and where some of like the bedrooms aligned to with like the framing, and that having like that second door in the front, like it's gonna put a door in an actual bedroom. And so the property actually had two front door openings on it. And also, as far as the window openings, those that are not visible to the street, are you referring to just those that are like facing, or are you referring to those that are on the side that could somewhat be seen as well? Because my only concern is that if I install a newer brick against that older brick that is there, it's going to be very distinguishable and may not look as good.
I can tell you my biggest concern about this is that it looks like it's a front elevation. Is that accurate?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're taking away one major aesthetic characteristic of a building that's on the front elevation, and that's that door. It essentially centers that porch.
Right.
So by you taking it away, you're removing and creating this, which I mean, in my mind, is not acceptable as to filling it in the way that it seems that you're proposing to do. So there needs to be some kind of element. And I don't know if that is a matter of increasing the windows, have something that actually is a highlight there, something that can actually be framed.
What we did at the
and I guess one more thing, that's a bedroom. You can move the furniture. Like, it can be moved around. I know you don't want to have a door in it. We're not saying have a door. We're even talking about something that's more of a fix or something that has it's giving the idea that there's still something that happens there, even if it's not to be used. But, okay, I'm done. Go ahead. I know you wanted to continue.
Joyce has.
What was that room originally?
Ma'am?
Wasn't it originally a bedroom?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
I thought so.
No, the front door did not. The front door of this historic house did not open into
was
a
a
bedroom.
duplex.
No.
Yeah.
It has two front doors.
Right.
So it's
But this floor plan is not your demolition floor plan. The left floor plan on sheet A100 is not a duplex. It has one bathroom.
No, it's not. But let me tell you why I know. I lived 2 houses down from that house, and that was a bedroom. That's why I asked the question.
Okay. Well, it wasn't intended as a bedroom
They're
historically,
not,
right?
But 25 years, maybe 40 years ago, it was. Because I knew people that lived there.
Okay, are there any more questions?
So I guess in that notion, it was a bedroom with the door in it, so that's not a crazy thought in this neighborhood. Not in this neighborhood, anyway.
And you do find houses of this size with that type of character where you do have the front doors on the porch. And so it is.
Can you say that first part again? I couldn't really hear you.
You do find in this neighborhood and other older neighborhoods with this style of house or this style of house that you do find 2 front doors on the porch. So it was not out of the norm. And it is an architectural feature on the property.
Right, that's correct. But if we refer back to the previous property, Auburndale, that you said was in the same neighborhood, I was able to put in 2 windows that are pretty much street facing. That way I could have like the entry door to the right of those. On this property would be like to the left that would go into the living room.
I don't have the 719 in front of me. I just remember the address and that it was in this neighborhood, but I don't recall that the door was moved or replaced on that. But anyway.
Okay, anything else? Okay, did you have anything you wanted to say before I call the speaker?
Everything else is fine. I just had to, I know that like the unpainted brick in those particular areas, it just may be, off some because of just like the date of the brick. And also like one of the pictures shows where the property has, I think it was like an older like storage room type thing that was on the back of the property. That's not bricked in at all. So I'm gonna have to put in new brick on that backside. So this is really the only reason that I'm trying to see if the painted brick could even work, because of having to put in so much brick on that backside of the property. It's not gonna look presentable.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I have Karen Edwards.
Could we have a question just a second? It's like, are we needing to brick the areas that weren't bricked?
I was going to say, the rear shed is not visible from the street.
Yeah.
So
Not a
that's
concern.
okay. So that's an option if
Yeah.
he wanted to brick it or not. Got it. Okay.
Okay, is Miss Edwards here? Okay.
Good afternoon.
Name and address, please.
Karen Edwards, 1887 South Rainbow Drive, 38107.
Okay, could you raise your, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, thank you. You may go ahead.
Just a few things, and Mr. Brown was here in January for the 719 North Auburndale, and it too, I believe, was a retroactive case. And my concern is when I saw the drawing, I thought that the front door should remain the same, and I would, if any doors being removed and bricked over or a window put in, would be the one that is perpendicular to the front door. because from the street view, I mean, in my mind, that takes you to the living area of the home and not a bedroom. I would say that if it is a bedroom and that is covered up, then I would suggest maybe putting a nice big window there, and any brick that comes off on the side could be salvaged and put around to fill in the space. And you probably could, if you did it right, would have enough brick to make it fit, horizontally. My preference would be that anything being done would be on the door. If anything were closed up or whatever, would be to the door that is perpendicular to the front door. The adjustments to the window sizes, to me, those need to remain the same as the original, according to the National Registry of Historic Places. And I do agree with every of the staff recommendations for all the other items. Anybody have any questions for me?
Y'all have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, did you have anything else to say? You have rebuttal time, sir. Okay. All right. At this time, I'm going to close the discussion to the public. Can I have a motion from a commissioner?
Sure. For the purposes of discussion, I move to approve COA 2022-031, subject to staff recommendations.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, let's discuss.
Margot, do you mind pulling up is there a photograph of the front as seen from the street? Kind of anything more straight on, or maybe Google Earth? I might ask you to hop into Google Earth Street View.
Oh, no, I'm on
760 North McNeil. So while she's trying to look for that, I'll point out. I see logic in this floor plan. I see what's happening. What was helpful for me looking at the street view was how you get to the front porch. So if on the floor plan, you actually are walking from left to right. The steps aren't illustrated. We just see two porch columns and a kind of I'm sorry, the steps are there.
Yeah, they're there.
So that said, that front door is like the nose on a face, right? That's helpful, Margot. Thank you. And it's not okay in a historic district to brick in the front door that faces the street. It's just not. So staff is on point in conditioning that to be made either into a window or a false door. And even a double hung window there is going to seem odd. It's like taking an ear and putting it where the nose is supposed to go, right? So I think that the solution that actually would save the applicant money and preserve the curb appeal for this house is to use a fixed door, that is essentially a door without hinges that's installed in place, but it's a door. It's manufactured by a door or a carpenter making a door, right? Could even be that door, ideally, right? The storm door goes away, and that 9-light wood panel that has muntins or mullions in it is fixed. I mean, we see that in New Orleans. You see it, where you have French doors. Some of them open, maybe some of them don't because they're fixed. And so working with the existing masonry. I mean, to think that we're proposing painting unpainted brick because we want to brick in the front door it's not even the cart before the horse. It's like, I don't know what it is, right? It's bonkers. I'm sorry.
Throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Right. And I know this sounds objectionable because it's not what you want to do, but I think it's what the next buyer of this house wants you to do, and the one after that. And it's what the neighbors want you to do. So that's my thought on the front door. I don't fully understand the window openings being the wrong size or by what order of magnitude. We're talking, this is what happened. This is exactly what happened at 1719 Auburndale, am I right?
Reduce the
Trying to,
windows into...
Using windows that were 6 or 8 inches too short.
Yes, same thing.
I don't know what's happening there, but that's not generally how it's done. And it's not, again, do we approve things out of convenience, or do we approve things that that should happen?
Can't hear you.
If you zoom in and look at the second image at the bottom, you can already see where those are smaller windows, and you look at the side, the smaller windows, and the opening was much larger for the windows.
Mr. Brown just informed me that he has the correct windows for this site, but the wrong ones were installed. So he plans to match
That's
the
good.
opening size. And for the record, the original windows were 1/1. So it's not the panes that we have a problem with, it's just the opening size. So that would remedy that.
I'm prepared to modify my motion. Was there any further, do you guys have the things that you're uncomfortable with on this still? I mean, I'm looking at, so condition 1 was unpainted masonry, and condition 2 was the stucco, which we didn't really talk about, but I agree with. Replacement windows, we just had a concession, compromise on. 4 was the window openings visible from the street shall not be enclosed. On the floor plan, Margot, which ones, the front door is not a window opening. What was the other, was there a window kind of far along the side, favoring the back to make the floor plan work?
The 2 on either side of the chimney that you see in this angle.
Yeah. I'm a plan guy, I'm trying to find the
And then
plan.
the 2 that you can see from this angle, they were paired and now they're single.
Page 18. Thank you. So on the plan on page 18, there's only one, I see one window at the back left that's on the side of the building, and I see 2 windows. There's 3 windows on the right side. And your condition would have them, has that work been done?
Yeah,
No, 'cause
it's
it
up
was-
on the screen.
Yeah,
It's up on the screen. You can see the
Right.
January versus April,
Right, thank you.
reduced from 2 to 1.
So the masonry work hasn't been done, maybe a piece of plywood or something's been put over there.
You see studs.
Right. I do think there's some wiggle room with the ability to abandon a window here or there. That being said, the front twin double hungs, it is unfortunate. And I'm looking at the floor plan, and it's just missing by I don't know if the rough-in plumbing's been done or what, but probably not, right? Okay, so, to accommodate the most important instance of that request, in the plan, one could move that bathroom wall north by 8 inches and course it out in the next room, and it would make the front bedroom nicer, right? It would, right. So I think I'm coming into focus on how I might modify that condition.
And I also think that with that, Peter, we look at that seal, the cast stone seal at the base.
Yeah.
I feel like that needs to be part of the
Right.
remedying, if you're going to go that route.
Right. If you remove a window, you don't leave.
The doubles.
You don't leave.
Window
Right.
seal.
Right. Good call.
I believe the applicant's amenable to putting the paired windows back.
Right.
Great.
But I think we are likely also amenable to bricking in 1 or 2 windows, those favoring towards the rear of the house, where he's, All right. So you have a condition about shutters, installing shutters of appropriate proportions flanking the paired windows on the front facade. Is that still applicable? It is, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was the only obvious paint I saw on the building. But
Uh-huh.
that was just a courtesy if
What-
he
what-
is worried about the paint.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's happening there because the brick's never been painted. So why is there paint on the
I
windows?
believe there used to be shutters there. that were
Somebody
painted in
literally
place.
sprayed
So
those
they-
shutters right on there.
Oh, they painted and their paintbrush went through the slats.
Yes.
Okay, good. That's a good one. All right. Okay, I think I can manage motion.
Wait.
Yeah. Oh, we have staff. Oh, yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry. Is it really necessary to close one of the windows in the back?
I couldn't hear you.
He can't hear you.
Is it really necessary to close one of the windows in the back? I
We
just
go
think it should
to,
be
maybe go to the floor
left
plan
open.
on page 18.
Sorry, I don't don't think I have it in my staff report. It'll take me just a second. I mean, in my
Yeah.
presentation.
I mean, to answer your question, I see why it is necessary. It's not arbitrary. There are new interior walls that are meeting the locations where the other instances are being proposed.
But if you shifted it over like you recommended earlier, there wouldn't be a need to close it, right?
Well, you know, he's got, if I look at the top back right, there's a double vanity, which one would expect rather than have a window there, you'd expect to have a mirror, which would take a solid wall. You know, yeah.
If it hasn't been plumbed, one option is to flip the closet in the bathroom. They'll center the water closet underneath the window, existing window.
Yeah.
As an option.
It's a good point. I mean, these are things that would save the applicant money too, right?
Right.
So has the rough-in plumbing been completed? Okay. All right.
You okay?
Yes. Confirming that
Yeah.
no closure of windows, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
On that side, we would say, because, I mean, it's closing, we're closing openings all the way around the building.
Right.
So this is more, we're talking about the visible.
Right.
From the street items.
So I think there are 4 instances of existing windows being bricked in, and we have a strategy to save 2 out of the 4 and to work with him, acknowledging that interior walls layouts are going to change. I mean, that they dictate occasional windows being infilled. So that's a good idea, good suggestion, good question. Do we have? We're in discussion and motions, right?
Still in discussion.
No. All right. So I can.
You can amend.
I can amend my motion. All right. I move to approve case COA 2022-031, subject to the following conditions: that unpainted masonry shall remain unpainted. That condition 2, stucco within the gable shall be repaired in kind and not covered with wood siding. Condition 3, which the applicant indicated he was amenable to, that all replacement windows shall match existing openings, size, and window in terms of style, size, and grid pattern. Condition 4, condition 4, subject to some modifications. So condition 4, I'm going to dive into in some detail, try to be succinct. And I'm going to start with the front door, that the front door be installed as a fixed door and not a window. So we'll call that 4A. 4B, that the twin double hung in the front bedroom number 3 be maintained as a pair of twin double hungs, which would require a slight shift of an interior wall. 4C, that the bricked in window in the master bathroom be left intact by flipping the layout of the bathroom. Was that Mario moving the closet? Yeah, the bathroom and closet as a combination. So the closet and bathroom as a group would flip, and then then your toilet would be underneath that window. And the other bricked in windows would be allowed as shown in the plans. Condition 5, I already covered in 4A. Condition 6, that the applicant have the option of installing shutters of appropriate proportions, flanking the paired windows on the front facade to hide the overpaint from former shutters. And condition 7, any change or deviation from the approved COA should be submitted to MLC for review and approval.
You done? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. I think Commissioner Cox, step away. Do you want to go ahead and do the?
We can.
Okay.
Hey, quick question, just quick question. Did we say the sill in case anything happens to
We've
the
already
double?
seconded.
Okay, I was like, did I miss something?
Okay,
No, I didn't.
Okay, we seconded. What do you need?
So adding one friendly amendment, which would be a condition in that group of family number 4 on the 4th amendment, with respect to any windows that are bricked in, if they were originally part of a twin pair And for example, the stone sill is 6 feet wide, leaving only a single 3-foot wide window, that stone sill needs to be cut off and modified, that you wouldn't leave the remnant of a sill below brick.
Can we clarify exactly which windows?
Yes. You mean
I'm confused as well as the applicant.
with respect to the last comment or with respect to the whole?
In general, yes.
I tried. I mean, I think if we listen to that recording, it was like described each room with the room numbers that are in the floor plan.
Well, just in terms of visibility from the street. I mean,
Master bath.
Yeah, okay, so.
Master bedroom on the rear.
Okay, so to clarify those items on condition, on the numerous fourth conditions, A, B, C, et cetera, we're talking about the front bedroom, which is where the axial front door that's now going to be fixed goes. Bedroom number 3 in the floor plan. It exists as a pair of twin double hungs. The applicant originally proposed to brick in the plan north one of those two. That will now remain a window with a slight shift in the location of the interior wall. I would estimate 12-inch shift or so. Bedroom number 3, right? You with me? All right. The master bathroom. I mean, I'm skipping all the way. I guess I should just go from south to north. Bedroom number 2 would be allowed to be modified per plan, subject to the point Joyce Selena made that the limestone sill that's out there on the facade needs to be chopped off and not left as a 6-foot wide sill, right, where you're bricking in a window.
But I have a question. That's still visible from the street.
I'm just trying to work with the applicant, and as somebody who's drawn floor plans, it's like you're constantly running into a window that's not working with where you need program on the interior. You're right. You're correct. It is 65% of the way back from the front facade, and even further if we consider the front of the porch. I mean, it's not very visible.
But it's just, I guess it was a bedroom, so ideally you would want light.
There's a window
And
that's
it's towards
remaining.
the back. Right. It's just, anyway.
Okay.
I just think you're taking away light.
I know, I'm just trying to work with them. The master bathroom and closet that's in that bathroom currently has one window, the very, very top right. Mario's idea was if you mirror that 16-foot wide program of the closet and all the way down to the bathtub, just take that and flip it.
We're changing something.
That the closet is now down here at the south end, the bathtub's at the north end, and the toilet would basically be centered on the window. Pretty nice. And there's only one other window on the very back of the left side, which I think is a casualty of an acceptable casualty of the layout of the house.
Not visible from the street.
Barely, maybe, right? Well, there's a span across the far back that's definitely not visible. Don't make me say all that again, Secretary Ragsdale.
Did you get this is an amendment to?
We have the amendment and understand the windows. So I think that amendment the second was?
The window sills, the stone lintel.
No, I'm saying, who seconded this? I want to make.
Oh.
Is this without, Ms. Doss?
I did.
Is this without objection?
Yeah.
Okay. So, any discussion you guys want to have on that?
And then we vote. Okay, we'll go.
Okay. You ready for a vote?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Doss?
Yes.
Mr. Gill? Yes. Ms. Love?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Strong?
Yes.
Mr. Warren?
Yes.
Chair Tucker?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Ernest Williams. Yes.
All right,
I don't want to see him
last
again.
case is a National Register nomination. It's NR 22-002 for the Ernest C. Withers
We're just
House
gonna let
at
him show.
480 West Brooks Road. And we do have a representative here who has a brief presentation, and we also have some of the Withers family, if they want to speak. We do have one card, so.
Okay, do we want to do it, or just let them come up?
I believe that we can have Ms. Lankin speak and do a brief presentation, and then whoever else wants to speak. We do have one card, but if others would like to speak, they can as well.
Okay, do you want to state your name?
Kelsey Lampkin with Memphis Area Association of Governments.
Okay, thank you. Do I need to swear her in? Okay. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So apologies I didn't present a formal presentation, but the Ernest Withers House, we are recommending listing it on the National Register as we believe is eligible under criterion B at the national level for significance with Mr. Ernest C. Withers. And as I'm sure you're all very aware, he has achieved international acclaim as a photographer of the Jim Crow South and the Civil Rights Movement, as well as scenes from Bill Street and Black life and culture in Memphis, which make up the part of the enormous category of lifestyle in his collection. And we are particularly trying to nominate this property because as it was his home between 1953 and 1972, which was the bulk of his career, while he had numerous studios throughout his career, this was really the anchor where many of the most iconic photographs, including the Emmett Till trial, were developed, and I believe the family would be more than happy to discuss more memories of that as well. Are there any questions for me?
Have any questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have one in support, Mr. Withers.
Good afternoon. I'm Andrew Withers, 480 Brooks Road, and I'm just here in support.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
All right.
Okay.
I am. I do. I will. But anyway, you all, I first want to compliment you all in your service. I know it's a tremendous thing to keep up with history. I'm the seventh son of Ernest Withers, and I've brought staff that are part of supporting what we are doing, and we just hope that one day you can visit the Ernest Withers Historical Home. You know, it's so fitting because Ernest Withers would be 100 years old if he was living this year. And so we're just part of trying to preserve history, to make things, you know, that used to be come alive. You know, it ain't all bad. It's a lot of good that, you know, the history of my father, of course, being a Memphis policeman, and a lot of people know him as covering the Civil Rights Movement. So we're just honored to be nominated, and we thank you for your time, and we appreciate what all you've done. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank
I
you.
guess I'd just like to say thank you all for coming, because I know this one thing, this one item I do think needed to have just a little bit more attention than it just being a blip of approval and let's push it on. So we appreciate you coming and giving us just a brief mention and a rundown of what was being done, and for Mr. Withers to come and express his thoughts as well. So very appreciated.
Okay, do we need to vote? Okay, because I knew it was on the consent originally, but.
Yeah, we need a motion, right?
Yeah, do I have a motion?
Yeah, before the motion, I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for your patience, listening to us talk about all this minutia and brick and gables and dormers and all that. I wish we could have done you guys first, and we appreciate you being here. Yeah, I'll submit a motion to approve. What's our case number? 22 what?
02.
Oh,
The NR 20, this one?
yeah. Thank you. Motion to approve NR 2022-002.
Second.
Do we have a vote?
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Doss? Mr. Gill? Ms. Love?
Yes.
Ms. Strong?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Warren?
Yes.
Chair Tucker?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Okay, I don't think we have any new
That was our
business.
last case, and we don't have any new business. So.
Okay, next meeting is Thursday, May 26th. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All right, bye.